Yeah, so last week, Tuesday, Dr. Dresner and I submitted a new proposal to the governor's office. That proposal basically took phase 3 guidelines and moved them into phase 2. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Jimmy and Kyle show after a few week hiatus. Jimmy, how you doing?
Doing well. I was on a 2-week misery tour. I know the Stones had their victory. This is our misery tour. I was kind of laying in bed with the sheets over my head, but I've rebounded and back to the positive frame of mind,
All right. And the man whose name should probably be on this show as well because he's been on here about every episode. Rich, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. Just enjoying the sunshine right now.
Yeah. Is it sunshine? Is it glare from the smoke? I don't know.
No, I feel as if I'm living on Mars right now. It's orange outside my house.
Yeah, just to let everybody know, we're filming on Saturday the 12th, and I thought we were having a nuclear issue out there when I opened up the door. The dog won't go outside. I walked outside. I didn't know if it was cloudy or smoky, and it's just terrible. The wildfires and the people losing their homes, and it's been one heck of a year for everybody. That's for sure. But hopefully this thing will get turned around here sooner rather than later, and we'll get into a positive mind frame and get going forward.
Yeah. It's I thought I was in an episode or in the movie Blade Runner when I woke up this morning. I thought it was a bad dream. How orange yellow the sky was. It was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, people losing their homes, people losing their lives. It's just kind of been one thing after another this year, and it's tough. My grandson went to pre-kindergarten, and he really didn't like it because they couldn't go outside and play. He said, "Grandpa, I'm
no
not
recess
going back."
time.
And I said, "I think you're going back. I don't think you have a choice." But even the kids that do go to preschool can't even go outside. So it's been tough. So
I know Rich is in the same position as I am, where our kids are going to, the online remote learning school, and I tell you what, it's been an adjustment. When you've got two kids in your house that are, trying to do schoolwork, you're trying to do work, your spouse is trying to do work. It's you're trying to make sure they're on task. It's definitely a new world order with this schooling and work.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
well, you know what though? There's only so many benefits of getting old, and this is one of them. My kids are in their 30s, so I don't have to worry about getting them up for school. But I can see the issues with the grandkids, and it seems like and there's different school systems and different things, but it doesn't seem like everybody's on the same page in this whole thing. And some kids are doing this amount of work, some kids are doing that amount of work, and you have 2 kids in the house, and they're not on the same schedule. I know you have 4 kids in the house, Kyle. Rich, you have 2 kids in the house. You would hope that they were on the same schedule so the parents could help. So I think, as a parent, you can feel a little bit helpless during this time, that what's the best thing to do, how to get your kids sorted out. The schedules are changing constantly from what I've heard from people. So it's a really tough time. There's no question about that.
Yeah. Charlie asked me the other day to help her with algebra, so I got my ABCs out. Apparently, that's not the same thing. I've already been fired. So.
Yeah, they're depending way too much on people that aren't educators.
Yeah, I saw a little meme the other day that it said, "If you see me talking to myself in the corner, it's just a parent-teacher conference. Don't worry about it."
Yeah. Hey, well, your dad's a professor, isn't he, Kyle? He's a college professor.
He was,
the girls
he's
and the boys.
Retired now, but he did that for, probably 4 years. Yeah.
He can get on the phone and help the kids, can he, all the way from Texas?
I should make him. That is a good point. I didn't think about that. I should make him FaceTime with them and help them do their work.
There you go. He'd probably be a good one to be able to do that. So, well, one of the things our parents want to know, I'm sure, is what's going on with the governor's office. What's going on with phase 2, phase 2.5, phase 3, phase 2.25, whatever all these phases are, Kyle.
Yeah. So last week, Tuesday, Dr. Dresner and I submitted a new proposal to the governor's office. That proposal basically took phase 3 guidelines and moved them into phase 2. The reason for that being is Dr. Dresner and some of his colleagues felt like, and actually quite a few doctors that I've spoken to as well outside of this, feel like soccer is a low risk sport. There's studies that have been done that talk about the amount of time that you're actually in contact or within that 6 foot area next to another player. And it's very minimal. Right now, the thinking is that you've got to be within that 6 foot area for 10 to 15 minutes at a time to be able to pick up enough viral load to contract the virus. And a Dutch study was done that showed that the longest amount of time anyone was next to another person or engaged with another person was 33 seconds. So, and then with all the other studies that have come out, obviously we did our own study. Dr. Dresner ran, and it included the other RCL clubs in the state. And North Carolina came out with one last week or the week before. Obviously, the one that everybody's seen from San Diego. There's a lot of studies that have been done around the country, and no one is reporting any cases of contracting the virus within a team training environment. Obviously, other states are playing games. New Jersey's had 4 tournaments. So there's been larger events that have been had as well. And so Dr. Dresner felt like, this is something that we could push for. And it still takes time, obviously, to get this approved and whatnot. So we put in a proposal for that, understanding that, if we don't get that, maybe there's a middle ground where training can be team training, and you could train within your group as a team. You could have, possession games, scrimmages within your team to keep that containment there. If the government felt like that was probably a better choice. Obviously, with the wildfires happening this past week, I spoke to the governor's office last night, and that is pretty much taken up all their time, is the response to this. And the gentleman we work with, John Snyder, he deals with all outdoor recreation. So this does affect his position in the sense of he's got to deal with, golf courses and the like, and kayaking and trails being open and stuff like that. So obviously we're not his only focus. We have been a big focus of his because we've been hounding him for weeks and months now, but they've been wrapped up a little bit. So it got delayed. I talked to him Monday. They figure that this is going to start blowing out or be gone by then. So he thinks that on Monday is the time we'll have discussions, and we're going to have bigger discussion as well. He's included the Department of Health and Governor Inslee himself as well. So we've got some public health commissioners in different counties, Clark County for one, that are going to be joining the discussion as well to try to hammer this out and get it done sooner than later.
So let me comment on that. First off, I'd like to recognize all the RCL clubs and all the clubs in our league that have done a fantastic job of social distancing, egress, ingress, kids wearing masks, doing the right things. All of us, parents, myself, coaches, have seen that odd baseball game going on or something going on in another field where kids aren't socially distanced. We can only do what we need to do, and we can only do what we need to do to be safe. And we have gone above and beyond making sure that we qualify with the governor's wish list. So I know it's frustrating when you see somebody else playing, or we feel that, maybe it's okay to play a game or whatever, but we're following the governor's orders. Not only are we following the governor's orders, but we've worked very hard to be part of that decision-making process in terms of creating phases and so on and so forth. And I'm very proud to be a part of Dr. Dresner and all the RCS guys that have worked really hard. The Crossfires, the Washington Premiers, the East Sides, the Packs, the Sounds, of making sure, Snohomish, everybody else, making sure that we're following the rules. I know that other people are trying to play, or other people are trying to go out of state to tournaments. It's just not the way we can go. We also have to stay in compliance with our field renters, Seattle Parks, King County Parks. I mean, they're the ones that ultimately control the fields. I know that some of our staff has worked hard with some of the universities to get training time. We're doing everything we can, and we're doing everything we can to progress this thing, but we have to stay on the right side of the law and do what's right.
Yeah.
Rich, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, just the same thing. I mean, you know, it's my big sort of tip of the hats to the kids. The kids have just been absolutely phenomenal. You know, I mean, following the guidelines, which are tough. And I mean, I've been out to the 2013s onwards, and it's absolutely stunning. You know, I mean, parents have been very respectful with the sideline protocols. I think they get the gist that it's to keep their children and everybody else's children safe. But I mean, it is tough. I mean, particularly when you've got little ones, you want to be out there on a sunny day, but parents have been phenomenal. But the kids truly have been absolutely amazing. You know, I mean, their attitudes, their positive outlook, you know, to be out there and just training and being within their friends, you know, in a different climate, you know, to what it was 6 months ago, you know. But, you know, and I speak to a lot of parents offline, and they share consistently that, you know, it's a sort of a saving grace for their kids right now, because it's their interaction, it's their outdoor activity. It really sort of lifts their spirits. So, you know, I think everybody's doing a great job on all sides, you know. So at every club, I mean, I haven't heard anything negative from anywhere in our local area.
Yeah, and I think that to mention the school curriculum, and I don't have kids in school anymore, and each school has different curriculum. I know, Kyle, you have a different curriculum than Rich, who lives in an area, and I've been talking to other people. But in some cases, we are the main source of any physical activity. You know, and that's a scary deal. A hyperactive kid like me, without somebody running me to death, I would have been real problems, you know, sitting in front of a computer and focusing. And I wasn't, you know, sometimes I'm not the most focused person now. But without that physical activity, it would be very, very difficult for me as a kid. And I know there's kids that want to play, and there's kids that need that running or whatever it is, the socialization, the running to for their mental health. I mean, we're talking about, and I think the governor's office understands that and recognizes that. This isn't just the pure situation of the virus. This is getting kids mentally healthy and giving them a steady balance of what they're doing in their life, you know?
Yeah. So part of some of the discussions that we've had with the governor's office and Department of Health officials, and it's included a little bit in the proposal as well as mentioned. It is about the physical education that they are not receiving really during this time. Every school district's a little bit different. You know, I've heard of one school district that has recorded sessions for the kids to do.
Fantastic.
For us, they had PE, I believe it was yesterday for their schooling. My first grader did a 15-minute scavenger hunt. That was PE. That's not PE. She needs more than that. I had to stick her on the Peloton last night just to get.
Did she win the scavenger hunt? Did she?
She believes she does. I don't know. You know.
Well, that's all that matters, right?
She had to find something round and red. She found an apple and asked if she could just eat the apple. So I told her it was all right.
There you go.
She won.
But yeah, the PE component is part of it as well, because if you think, in the past, kids have been able to get PE waivers from schools if they're participating in youth sports. I know I've signed, and Rich, I'm sure you've signed a lot of these PE waivers in the past. Yeah. So, you know, that is included in there. Can we be, and other youth sports be, the PE for these children, like we're saying? And you got to remember too, the protocol or the proposal that we wrote is not just for us. It's not just for Washington Youth Soccer. It is for all sports. And so what we did was we sent out an endorsement letter to a lot of other sports. Some of them didn't get back to us. Maybe they're not really fully operational right now. But a lot of them did. And some of the bigger ones did. USA Baseball, USA Softball, and whatnot. And they signed this endorsement letter. So we have some strength in numbers behind this to send on. And we even included some very basic measures, safety measures for baseball, softball, lacrosse, lacrosse not having face-offs. for soccer. Maybe you take out the throw in or the corner kick. And these are not set in stone. These are just suggestions, and we'll have discussions with public health officials about this. In baseball, maybe the batter and the catcher have to wear a mask as well as the coaches and the umpire, just because they'll be in close contact for a little bit. But we're trying to help all these kids out, and maybe this will encourage some of these kids that maybe didn't play youth sports before that are now not getting any sort of PE or any sort of regimented outside programming to join youth sports, which obviously would be a fantastic thing for their physical health, for their mental health, all that. And we talk about mental health within the proposal as well, how these kids have suffered mentally through this time, and youth sports give them some structure, give them some social interaction, in an environment that is safe. It's much safer than a classroom, obviously, because you're outside, you're in the air, you're away from people and whatnot. So, yeah, the PE component is a big part of that proposal.
Yeah. Well, I'd just like to thank all the parents for being patient. I know patience isn't my best virtue all the time, but it's good that everybody's been patient, and then they've been following the rules, and to and from training has been fantastic from what I've seen. So it's great. Hey, Rich, can you talk to me about the ECNL, and maybe Kyle talk to me about the RCL and the NPSL, about schedules that have been out there? What's up with that, Rich, right now with the schedules we've got for games and so on and so forth? Can you explain that for the parents?
Yeah, I mean, so the schedules are up because obviously the ECNL season started. Some areas are, some other states are up and playing, like Kyle said. Some areas are 4, 5, 6, 7 games into their season. So the schedules have been posted. So with regards to our area, Washington, Oregon, we've put the schedules up there because ideally when we get back to playing, obviously we'll roll into those dates. But hypothetically, we would be playing this weekend per schedule. Obviously, we're not. So that fixture will actually just roll on to basically the back end of hopefully of the fall, if we can be playing in December. We left a big chunk of time after Thanksgiving to sort of roll those games that we don't get to play in, rather than push the whole season back and deal with a multitude of rescheduling. Every game we miss will just roll into the backside. And if that means it's December, and if we're not up playing by December, then, there's basically a big block of space after boys and girls high school returns. That April-May season ending for those guys, they'll run into May and June before playoffs. So there's a few contingency plans, but right now on the boys and girls, the schedules are up there to be played when we get the runoff, and I think I think the RCL will be the same. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, but I think once those dates open up, we'll be in. If it opens up on a Thursday and there's a Saturday schedule, we'll be playing on that Saturday. Because again, depending how deep into the season we get, we do need to leave those weekends open for reschedules.
So to get rid of any confusion, basically the dates that are there now are placeholders until we know we're playing, and then the schedule will be remodified.
Well, the times will be remodified. I mean, if we got cleared to play the October 10th game, that's up there and ready to go. The game times will tweak because obviously they're not posted on most yet, but that date will stand. But the September 12th, 13th games will just be rescheduled to the back end of either the fall or the spring season.
Yeah, and the RCL
and Kyle, speak to the RCL and NPSL.
Yeah, those are basically the same idea. Both they're kind of in lockstep with each other. Both were set to start hypothetically, tentatively on September 26th. Those dates were chosen because that was, about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, we came out of a meeting with the governor's office where he was cautiously optimistic that we'd get into phase 3 by mid-September. So about at this point. And so we set those dates at September 26th just to be able to give some leeway in that timing. Now, if we don't get into phase 3 or have those phase 3 protocols brought into phase 2 for youth sports, and we can't play games, just like the ECNL, those games would just roll off 1 week at a time. So it'd go week by week. So like Rich said, if you get into a Wednesday and the governor or the county announces we're in phase 3, then that Saturday you'd be playing games. And just so everybody knows as well, yeah, those RCL schedules are done. The NPSL schedules are done. They've been sent to Jessica at SYSA, who does all the game schedules for us as a club, ECNL, RCL, NPSL. And she is working on getting those games scheduled right now. That way, if you do get to a Wednesday, your game is already scheduled. You basically just tell the other team who, would be in phase 3 as well, hey, game's on because we're both in phase 3. And then you can go from there. So those will get communicated, not a day in advance, but hopefully a little bit farther in advance now that the scheduling is going to be done. So.
Okay. And on the scheduling for the ECNL and RCL aspect of things, for the girls, the 08s and 07s will actually play their RCL season in the fall and then stay with their original ECNL plan of winter, spring. Obviously, it's flip-flop for the girls. With the high school season now coming in, we'll actually play, in theory, we normally play 7 games on one day for the 7 age groups. Now it'll actually just be high school will play in the fall, and the 7s and 8s will actually stay with their year-long original schedule with the RCL in the fall and then flip over to the ECNL.
Yeah, and boys are different where the 08s and 07 boys don't play in the RCL, so there's no confusion. They just play in the ECNL for the entire year.
Perfect. So that makes a lot of sense. It makes it easier for the parents to follow what's going on because we see scheduled games, and without the governor's office allowing us to play, those are simply placeholders on a go-forward basis.
Correct.
So.
Yeah. Correct. Right. Yeah. So everybody should look at it, and if you want to plan around it, great. Just know that we need to be in phase 3 or have those protocols pushed into phase 2, which would be announced before any of those games are, set in stone and ready to be played.
Yeah.
And there are tournaments in other states like Idaho and so on and so forth, but you're not supposed to go from one phase to a higher phase to play tournaments. Am I correct?
Correct.
So that's why we have to be very careful when we hear clubs are going over and playing in Idaho and so on and so forth. I know there was a tournament about 2 weeks ago that I believe the mayor of Moscow canceled the tournament mid-tournament because of the way it was being handled or whatever happened. They weren't using protocol or whatever. But we're not allowed to go to a phase 3 area and play a tournament. So, those are the rules that we're given, and those are the rules that we're following. I know it's frustrating, and some of us think we should be playing now. Some, there's a bunch of different opinions on this thing, but we still have to follow what's going on. And I have to say, there's been a lot of great efforts with you guys. John Dresner has been a superstar through this, Dr. John, for the University of Washington Medical, UW Medicine. We wouldn't be where we are without John Dresner. And he's pushing for us every day and working hard. Our medical advisory committee, our board, this has been more interaction with our board than I've ever had on a daily basis. And that's probably not good for them. But it's been such a dynamic time that you can't prepare too far in advance because you don't know what's going to happen. So we're trying to keep up with everything that could happen. I know we have meetings all the time talking about what ifs, and I think we're prepared. Like Rich said, if we find out a Wednesday, it's good to play on a Saturday. Hopefully our training sessions that we will done have prepared the kids to play. I know it's tough to jump into groups of 5 and no interaction to playing the next day, but I think physically the kids are okay. Would you say that, guys, from the training?
Yeah. I mean, the physical aspect is as good as we're going to get without having match fitness. And again, I spoke to a parent just the other day who said this has been taking a positive out of the negative situation. It's been the best thing for her daughter because she's actually got to work without game stress, purely on certain aspects of her passing game. So there's been a huge educational component for her as a centre back of actually learning her trade, by the sessions that we've been able to do. And for a good chunk of them in the early days, a lot of them have really grown from the Zoom sessions that we did with the tactics, because we as coaches have actually got to spend a bit more probably, chalkboard time with them. And then we've spent the last 10 weeks putting it into practice in training, So, I mean, obviously the game fitness will take a while, but, the excitement and the adrenaline will certainly get them through a little bit longer than it would.
Yeah, I understand the game fitness. I guess my question was around if you have, and the little guys, boys and girls, I mean, they can bend over backwards and not get hurt. The older kids, their fitness level is good enough to play in a match. They're just not match ready in terms of the demands. But injury-wise, they're fine.
You're talking about the aerobic capacity to play a 70-minute.
I just want to make sure that we go right back to play and that we're ready to go in terms of injury prevention and so on and so forth.
I don't think we'd be overly worried about the injury aspect more than we on a regular basis we would be. I mean, they're getting 3 sessions a week. We moved to a new fitness component of the club today. We had been doing Mondays and Tuesdays. For the girls, we've now opened that up to Saturday mornings for the boys and the girls, Premier and Regional. We had 270 players this morning in the 4 sessions go through with our new fitness coach, Ben Willis, who's came in, and he's running sort of like a hybrid of high impact training based on soccer movement. And a lot of the parents, I mean, I got tons of text messages when it finished. A lot of the parents were like, this is great. 1, his positivity and his energy. But 2, as we were just talking about earlier, I mean, it's a great PE lesson. In the week that we've had with the smoke, they got to get a good workout for 45 minutes in the
I hope it was indoors or on Zoom, right?
It was indoor on Zoom.
Yeah. Okay, good. You weren't outside. I don't want to hear that. Well, that's fantastic. Kyle? Anything with your guys or the boys in the side or?
Yeah, so the boys are doing these strength and conditioning programs as well as all the regions. So this is the entire club. This has been opened up for, which is fantastic. And I know that some people, when they first saw the email come out the other day, were, well, we've got a conflict at that time. Is there any way it can be recorded? So Ben is recording the sessions and is going to send them to Rich and I. And then Rich and I can send those links out so that people that want to do it because they didn't do it today or they want to do it again can get that fitness work in again. So it's just a rumor out there as well
about these. There's a rumor out there about these classes that Ben has a very popular brother named Bruce. Is that true? Ben Willis, Bruce,
true.
Was that his brother?
I'm waiting. I mean,
was he the Terminator or something?
The Terminator, Die Hard, man. That's a
different guy. Oh, Die Hard. Okay, I forget the movies, but he's not Bruce's brother. Was that just a rumor I made up?
If you're really sharp enough and you keep on saying the word rumor, because that is Bruce Willis's daughter too, you've tied this in really well.
I
don't think you knew that.
Rumor has it. Rumor has it. Anyway, you guys got anything else? Any other things going on or something? Anything the parents should know? Or
I mean, we're working on that drop-down menu, Jimmy. I don't know if you want to chat about that. We have the Dr. Dresner lined up. We have the sports psychologist lined up already.
Why don't you explain what we're doing, Rich, and then Kyle can chirp in there.
Well, I think in this is where your leadership's been great. I mean, the big thing that you've expressed to us is we want to be more than just a soccer club. We're trying to be a sporting club and, give as many, avenues and options to our players. And now we've branched it to have a look at this program where we can reach out to the families as well. And not just sort of on the college recruiting side, which, we've had our webinars going, which have been going well and they're well attended. And Gary's done a great job with that. But bringing down this sort of drop-down menu of it's almost like a speaker series, 2 or 3 on a monthly basis over the next couple of months on, we do so much that's player-centric for our players. And I think sometimes a lot of good information can be passed to the parents. So we all got together and we've worked out some areas that we would like to share with, experts of their field. So Dr. Dresner is going to come on and talk about that return to play, the COVID update of how it sits with us as a soccer program and, where we're at. And then from there, we have a sports psychologist who I spent a few meetings with this week, who's going to come in and he's basically going to talk about how a parent can help assist their child get there, with their improvement in how to go about it, and what direction to push and and when to sit off and just allow their own growth. So I actually asked him to do one. He's actually asked to come on twice because he believes that he's got two topics that roll in. He's great. Dr. Dan, he's worked with me with U.S. national teams before. He's now basically the head of the sports psych for the Stanford men's and women's soccer teams, which I think since he's been doing that, I think between the two programs, they've won about 4 or 5 national championships. And both programs are renowned for basically their mental strength. So he's very relevant. And then we have a couple of nutritionists coming in. One's going to talk about pre and post game and training food. And another one's going to come on and do some cooking classes. So,
I could use that.
I just have to say, I'm a little.
I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to get my wife in that cooking class
to come on there and do a cooking class. I mean, we could learn how to smoke a brisket. We could do a lot of things.
Why don't
you could just throw a brisket out in your porch and smoke it right now? It's
right now. Yeah, you get a lot of smoke flavor.
Yeah. Hey, Rich, are these going to be interactive when John Dresner comes on? Dr. John, can the customers ask or our families ask questions?
Yeah,
I hope that would be the case, right?
I think we'll run it as a webinar aspect where parents can chat their questions in, rather than having 100 faces on a screen. We'll just tune into that presenter, and then we'll just have a sidebar that the parents can go on and chat and ask the questions, and then our presenter and a moderator will go through and direct those questions at the appropriate time.
Yeah, Jimmy, that plan is to have a moderator there that will make sure everybody has access and make sure that when people have questions, they can put it on the comment board. And
because on the Corona one with John Dresner would be great. Also, I had kids play sports. It's hard to navigate the waters. When to talk to your kid, when do they want to be talked to? They don't want to, I'd always ask my kid that we had a coach, Pete Fewing at Seattle University, and they'd stand up the side of the field after the game for an hour in conversations, and he'd get in the car. We'd go get pizza because you don't see him all week. And I would say, and I'm interested. I was a player. I'd say, Bobby, what did Pete say? And he'd say, I don't know. Well, you must have known. You were there for an hour. What did he say? I don't know. Well, did he say anything went well? Did it go bad? What should we do? I don't know. So obviously it probably wasn't the best time to talk to him. So maybe they can help me with that. I don't know. When a grandkid plays, maybe, and I ask questions, I don't want to hear that. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking at the wrong time. So
yeah. No,
so this is awesome. I think this is going to be really cool. I think that this episode has taught us a lot. I think Zoom and not the social media as much, but contacting kids through a Zoom still is a viable product to use. Even though if we're back and it's full time and the coronavirus is gone, I think some of the personal fitness stuff that Bruce Willis's potential brother Ben is doing could be cool. I think that some of the coaching strategy. If you're going to have a strategic meeting or a cool down after a game or a rehab day or whatever, you might be able to do that in Zoom rather than having the parents drive all over Seattle to get to a field. All the parents' meetings that we do could be done on Zoom where they don't have to drive and try to get from Jefferson Playfield to, out there in, at Ingram or wherever the meetings are, or the Mountaineers Club. I just think we've learned a lot of things through this trial. I think it's been good. I think everybody's grown quite a bit in terms of the technology, in terms of how to communicate effectively with the players and the parents. And I don't know if we would have ever really done that if we weren't forced into doing it, because like I said, we're all creatures of habit. We get comfortable with what we're doing and we stay there. But I think through this spell here, it's made everybody, even I, can get on Zoom, and that's quite an accomplishment.
I was gonna make a comment. This may be the first time where you've not had an issue. So your technological prowess has come a long way. And
you know what I'm thinking? I'm honestly thinking of releasing my pigeons, but not yet. I just still holding on to the pigeons in case I got to get a message out there.
Don't put them out there today anyway.
Yeah, no, they can't see. You know what I mean? But I got little notes on their tails and they take off. It's pretty fun. It's hard cleaning up after them, but other than that, it's a good deal. So
yeah.
Anyway,
well, Jimmy, you have any closing thoughts?
No, I just hope this is, our air will clean up here in real quick, and we get back to at least scrimmaging. Let the kids have a go at scrimmaging where they can play a bit. Games, I'd love to see games, but just let the kids scrimmage and get a good workout, and maybe it'll augment what they're doing at school while they're not in school. Yeah. And getting the kids out there playing. You sign up to play. Let's be honest. We all want to play. I mean, I never see anybody meet out a field and do fundamentals. Everybody wants to play, right? So hopefully we get to play sooner than later.
Yeah.
Rich?
Yeah, no, I mean, just kind of off the soccer topic of, I think we've spent a lot of time over the last 6 months thanking all of the first responders and so forth who've gone through this, but I know there's many of the rescue and the fire guys are heading down towards Oregon. So I mean, I just one, thanks for those guys for being so brave, and I think we are a big community club. So I mean, if your family's been impacted by it and you need help, if we can at least give some form of outreach to you. You always ask. I mean, Brooke's uncle's house burned down last week. Down in Ashland. So I know that's struggling, so I mean, I think it'll impact a few of us in and around the area. So one, try and stay safe. I know we make light of living on Mars right now, but it's also a terrible time for those who are being impacted. So, our well wishes are with you, and if we can do anything, obviously I think our mantra has always been, that we are a community club that would love to support anybody in our community.
For sure.
No doubt. Well said. Kyle?
Yeah. Just stay tuned for information. As we get it, we will let everybody know. Hopefully there is some middle ground here where if they don't say, we'll take phase 3 protocols, put them in phase 2, they'll loosen up the guidelines for training in phase 2. And as soon as we know that, then we will let everybody know. And hopefully we can get the last chunk of the schedule all the way through November, get those fields in and get that out and scheduled. That way everybody's got a good clean schedule like they're used to through the rest of the fall. So thanks everyone. Appreciate being here with us, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Hey,
take care, everybody.
Next week, do I get my name on the bottom?
Yeah, you get your name on the bottom.
I'll scribble it in.
You might even get a hat.
All right. Very good.